Welcome back to the Prime Focus Goalkeeping channel. My name is Brandon Miller. I'm your host, and today we're going to talk about the 4 best drills for goalkeeper footwork. To help you work on your speed, your power, your agility, your quickness, your balance, but most importantly, helping you to be able to move around the goal very well. So these are 4 basic drills. These are drills you can do on your own without a ball. You can do them at home. These are the 4 best drills that I use personally, that my goalkeeper coaches use in training, and that my youth goalkeepers use on a consistent basis to work on their ability to move around the goal very well. So let's focus on the first drill, a simple cone drill. It's an important drill because it helps us to work on a few different things. Our ability to drive our feet into the ground, which helps us with our quickness and our power, our body control as we move across the cones, and our change of direction as we go from one side to the other. So it looks like a simple drill, and you'll see your coach put these cones down and you're like, oh, and then we'll just see goalkeepers going through the drill by just lazily moving through here, maybe hitting the cones, not really worrying about what they're doing. And the problem with that is even the most basic mundane stuff can have a translation into the goal and help you develop as a goalkeeper. So doing these things with a lot of precision, a lot of accuracy, and a lot of focus on what we're doing can help us maintain that level that we're looking for. So looking at a cone drill like this, right? Very basic one, going 2 feet through, driving our feet into the ground, changing directions, right? A drill like that works on multiple things. Being able to drive your feet into the ground, be powerful in through the ground and help you spring off the ground. That helps you when you get in goal and you're stepping and pushing to make saves, whether it's top corner, whether it's bottom corner. Being able to explode and be powerful when you do that. All of that starts right here. The change of direction. Being able to win a game when I'm caught going one way and I need to push off and go the other way. A sharp change of direction is huge, right? There's little things within this drill that translate into the goal that goalkeepers don't think about a lot, but can be very impactful for their development as goalkeepers. And it's not just going 2 feet through. If we're going forward and back through, little body control, a sharp change of direction, but being able to move in tight spaces and control your body and your movement and your momentum and your balance in order for you to move effectively and be able to change directions quickly. So there's a lot of different drills that you can do in here, whether it's single leg hop and control, right? Learning how to control your body, your balance, how to land properly, and how to explode off of that. There's a ton of different drills that you can do in here that are beneficial for your footwork. So let's move on to the second drill. So our second goalkeeper footwork drill that we like to focus on is what I like to call the diamond, right? Obviously we've got 4 cones here. They're 4 different colors and they're in a diamond shape. This drill is great for working on vertical movement, working on backwards movement, and then working on lateral movement both sides. It's a very simple drill. Again, you can do this at home, working by yourself. I'm working up to the cone, pushing back. What foot do I push off with when I go back? Whether it's my left foot or whether it's my right foot. What does my body weight look like as I'm running forward? Am I controlled or am I out of control? And I'm not able to move efficiently when I'm doing that. So thinking about that, what foot do I push off of? What foot do I step with? What foot do I push back with? How do I get my weight back forward when I get back to the middle? Same thing moving backwards. But now it's thinking about how can I still see the action in front of me while also moving back. That helps us to work on a lot of times when that shot gets looped over us and we want to drop off, still see the ball and be able to get to the ball and tip it over the bar. So that backwards movement, understanding how do I move back and then come back forward. Now we're looking at going laterally as well. Lateral movement is huge for goalkeepers. How do I efficiently work out, then push back into the middle? How can I keep my hips square to the field and push back in? Understanding the sharp, short steps that we need to take to get out to the cone and then be able to change directions and get back to the middle, right? So there's different aspects of this that you can make this drill a little bit different to make it a little bit more challenging. Maybe it's calling a color, yellow, and working out to the cone and back to the middle. Maybe it's white, working around the cone and getting back in, right? Managing your body movement, your sharp steps, your power and your agility, your quickness to get around or get to and get back to the middle. So that's a very good drill for working on 4 different directions of movement. A lot of the different movements that you're gonna see when you're in the goal. So that's our second drill, the diamond drill. Now let's move on to our third drill. All right, so here's our third goalkeeper footwork drill. We like to call this the square drill. So it's very similar to our diamond drill, But in this drill, we're gonna work on a little bit of angled directional footwork as opposed to just front, back, right, and left. So we're gonna see those movements in a game, but we're also gonna see in a game times where we have to move on an angle. Goalkeeping is all about angles. You get your angles correct, you're gonna make a lot of good saves, right? Your movement on the angles is important as well, right? So we're looking at here being in a square. There's a lot of different drills that you can do here, adding in a ball or doing it without a ball in order to work on your efficiency and your movement, going from one spot to the next and back. There's a lot of different things that we can do here, but focusing first on the angled movement diagonally, out to the cone, working back in. What does that change of direction look like? Right side, and then going to my left side and working back in. Same thing dropping off, what we talked about before, but now doing it on the angle, working back and coming forward. How do we move efficiently on an angle so that we're not just going straight, we're not just going backwards, we're not just going right and left, but we're adding in that angled movement. That strike comes from the angle and it chips over us. How do we drop off? Because we're not gonna drop straight off, we've gotta drop off on an angle. How do we do that efficiently and effectively to then be able to push off and push the ball over the net? So there's a lot of different things that we can do here. Again, we've got 4 different colors. Blue, we're working up towards blue. We push back in. Yellow, we get around. We're working back in. But we're always seeing the field. We're always keeping our hips as straight as we can, and we're always moving short, sharp, and efficiently. And so that's a really good drill to work on that angled movement, and getting back to a spot happens a lot of times in the game. I think I may need to come out, I drop back in, and I get back set on the angle, right? I'm not closing it down, but I'm dropping back in and I'm seeing the strike. So our ability to move from our diamond drill, forward, back, right, left. Now in our square drill, angled, right, left, back, left. These are all important movements that we're going to see in a game, so we need to be able to do them effectively and efficiently. So let's move on to our last goalkeeper footwork drill that we use for effective movement. So our 4th and final goalkeeper footwork drill that we want to work on is focusing on working on our crossover step. So we've worked on a lot of lateral movement in our cone drill, in our diamond drill, and even a bit in our square drill, but a lot of sometimes our lateral movement needs to go a little bit further, and we need to be more efficient, effective, and powerful getting across the goal. And our crossover step is the perfect way to do that. And it's a really good use, a really good technique for goalkeepers to have and learn, but it can be a tough one for goalkeepers to learn. A lot of times when we see the crossover step, it's either used in the wrong setting, where a goalkeeper may be moving from one spot to the next, maybe a yard or so, and utilizing that crossover step that takes them a little bit too far, takes their body weight a little bit too far, and now they're in the wrong position. So understanding when to use the crossover step is important, but understanding how to do the crossover step is just as important. And so a drill like this is perfect. We've got cones that are about 2.5, 3 yards away. They're 2.5, 3 yards apart from each other, and that's typically the distance where we want to start using that crossover step, where we have to go from one part of the goal and get 3, 4 yards across the goal, and being powerful and precise with our steps to get across and efficient, so we don't have to shuffle across and take a lot longer to get there. So a drill like this, where we're here and we're crossing over and getting set in front of the other cone. Now there's times where you can add in the ball. Maybe I'm getting a volley here and I cross over step and I get back here and I get a volley here, and we're working back and forth. But the important thing is understanding on my crossover, I'm not crossing over here, turning and going here. I'm trying to keep my hips and my shoulders square as much as possible. So I cross over and I get here. I'm trying to be efficient, step and I get set, right? So that larger step gains some ground, but we have to do it with a powerful step. We can't just be here and then we're shuffling. There's no point in that, right? We want to be powerful with this. We want to get across and we want to get set. That drill is very good for us getting the basic technique of moving across our goal with power and gaining a lot of ground and some distance. Those are the 4 basic goalkeeper footwork drills you can do with the ball, without a ball, in order to focus on your speed, your agility, quickness, your power, body control, our efficient movement across the goal, being able to move forward, backwards, diagonally, laterally, gaining ground with our crossover step. There's a lot of different aspects of footwork that goalkeepers need to be proficient in, and those 4 drills cover pretty much every aspect. So I'll remind you, we've got the cone drill where you can go laterally, you can face in and do some footwork there. We've got the diamond drill that works forward, backward, lateral movement right and left. We've got the square drill where we're working laterally, but also on diagonals, working on different angles in our diamond drill. And then our last one, the basic two cone drill, getting across and working on our crossover step to be powerful and efficient with our movement. So if you have any questions on those 4 drills, or you have your own drills that you think would be effective and we should talk about, leave them in the comments section and we'll be sure to address that. Until next time, stay focused.